There are 30 billion now. That's 10 billion up in a month. That's insane. So they're now making more money than OpenAI. Who wants to pay to get ads?
I don't know.
Microsoft says Copilot is for entertainment purposes only, not serious.
Even to set up Microsoft's own systems, like Power Automate, I have to go to Claude to get the correct answers. That should tell you pretty much everything you need to know about Copilot.
So I tried using Claude Code to spin up an agent to basically delete OpenClaw on a VPS. OpenClaw refuses, keeps on restarting itself, and now they're fighting for the same Telegram token.
That's hilarious.
I don't think people realize that that's tooling that's added on top of the model. It's not like you're gonna grab Gemma out of the box and it's gonna start like going through your files and doing everything that like Claude Code or Claude Cowork would do.
For the first time in a long time, this is where I've seen different types of professionals working together or having conversations around technology. I don't think I've ever seen this happen before, ever.
Welcome to another LinkedIn Live session. This week we're talking about how Claude hit 30 billion in revenue, which is 10 billion up in a month, and they're now making more money than OpenAI. We're talking about the operational confusion around the Claude's ecosystem and product landscape. Things people are not paying attention to. That somewhere around 60 to 70% of Claude's own products are still in beta. When it comes to Claude Code, for example, only the CLI version is covered under the BAA, and only after you separately qualify for zero data retention with Anthropic. We break all of this down today, along with how OpenClaw has 850 unpatched security vulnerabilities and how Microsoft just said that Copilot is for entertainment purposes only. Let's dive in. So this is this week's session. One just went out. Frode,
Yes.
I wanted to ask you because we were having some discussions about OpenClaw, some surface level discussions. These experiments are popping all over the place now in legal space as well. Europe, US, China. What is your concern?
800 and what is it? 840 CSVs. That's the first concern because you know about them, and then all the security holes you don't know about. That's the biggest concern.
850 security vulnerabilities. Unpatched?
Yeah. It's pretty bad. There is actually a GitHub repo following all the security issues with OpenClaw, and if you go and look at it daily, there is something new popping up. So I would avoid OpenClaw. Yeah.
Okay, but let me ask you from the perspective of the user, right? How can I guardrail this? How can I make sure that, let's say there's a process that I want it to run every single time in the same way, right? Like we do when we design workflows. What are my options beyond prompting and giving it better instructions?
You can make a cron job. You don't need OpenClaw to make a cron job that runs and does certain tasks. It's easy. You can build it without OpenClaw and you don't have the security issues.
No, yeah.
I mean, you would spend more time fixing security issues and making sure you're safe with OpenClaw than actually building a system that does whatever job you want it to do.
And yes, and that's the actual mutual denominator between the people that I talk to that are like really getting any value out of it. They're investing enormous amount of time in what you just said. But then the second thing is, because my question is like, look, if you as a lawyer using some drag and drop tool or vibe coding, if you design a workflow yourself, right? It has steps, and for these steps you can use AI or not use AI. But like you pre-design what the steps are going to be. Yep. If you use OpenClaw, right? How can is there any way that I can enforce these technical guardrails onto OpenClaw? Because what I see people doing is they're mitigating the risks by giving OpenClaw better instructions. For example, instead of telling it avoid malicious suspicious actions, they first define what a suspicious action suspicious action is, and then they tell OpenClaw to not do that, which is like essentially a better instruction, right? But I'm not seeing any other technical guardrails beyond that level.
No, I mean, you have to build your guardrails, but most people who build the guardrails use an LLM to build it. So, I mean, how are you going to check that your guardrails are actually good? It's made by another LLM or a person. So you kind of battling yourself. You give it a better prompt to not do it, and then that's basically a guardrail. But we've all seen the guardrails have been bypassed. You can write a poem and suddenly your guardrails doesn't matter. So it's I don't know. Do good old-fashioned cron jobs. You're safe.
Yeah, marrying deterministic with AI.
Yeah.
What do you think about these OpenClaw experiments in legal space, Masai? They're popping up now. There's one in Europe, one in US. The ones that are publicly writing about this. There's stuff in China.
I think yes.
Hold on.
Problem. Yeah. Well, the China ones are actually more safe than the European and American one because it's not built on OpenClaw, it's just a copy. But they actually built in guardrails and some security. I mean, you can now run OpenClaw on Kimi and it's 100% safe because they built it and set it up in their infrastructure system. So that's a different ballpark than the GitHub version, where anybody can contribute and send you malicious files or code.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But China has a different type of approach anyways when it comes to AI. They're trying to control more things, right? So they are enabling the development in this area, but they're also controlling it more.
Yeah, of course. They do.
So I've been getting a lot of questions around this, specifically Claude co-work, Claude code, Claude chat, basically Claude ecosystem. And just yesterday, like to test as a testament to its capabilities, just yesterday there was a Word plugin released, and apparently Microsoft was trying to get that out for a while, but they didn't really succeed. Claude basically pulled it off. Currently, it's available only, I see, for teams and enterprises, and it's still in beta. So don't go wild with it, with the client data just yet. But how do you see, actually, that's a thing that I've been thinking recently. How do you see competing even a lot of firms, especially smaller ones, are developing a lot of dependency now on the Claude ecosystem.
Yeah.
And it's, hey, Stefan. And it's like, technically it's harder and harder and more expensive to switch between providers.
Yeah.
How do you see that in the...
I see it the same way as when Microsoft came along. Now everybody is in Microsoft. They have their ecosystem in Microsoft. They have everything there. And it's too expensive, too slow, and too time-consuming to change. And I'm guessing we will see the same with Claude. More and more will adapt it, and at the end, you're kind of locked in because it will be too expensive to start over. And you also see it in Claude's revenue, right? There are 30 billion now. That's 10 billion up in a month. That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're now making more money than OpenAI. So
what's revenue for OpenAI?
18.
Almost double, huh?
Yeah. They messed up when they went with the army, and then people left, and they've basically been off since that. And now the CTO left, a few of the top administration left because of sickness, health issues. So something is going on over there. So
what's the revenue split between enterprise and consumer? Do you know? OpenAI.
They don't say.
No?
They don't say. No.
Well, if you had to guess, what do you think it is? 50-50, 60-40 maybe?
I think Anthropic is doing it very good on the enterprise.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just got an email from OpenAI recently about advertising. Like
Yeah.
ads on. So I think they're going to get into that play pretty soon, or they're getting into that play. Selling.
Did anyone already see how it looks to get an advertisement on ChatGPT? That's only on free versions, right?
Yeah. And on Go, you know the Go version is like the $8 a month version?
Yeah,
No.
I heard about it, but yeah, that's also something recent that they tried just before the ads game to kind of get the revenue moving.
Yeah. But I think you can get ads on there too. They have like, what is that? Like the free plan, and the Go plan, and the Pro plan, and the Max plan. On the Go and free, I think they give you ads.
So wait, you get it on free, and then they said if you pay $8, you will still get it.
Yeah, I don't know what the difference is.
So who wants to pay to get ads?
I don't know. Somebody apparently.
That's just, yeah. Give me $8, I will give you ads.
Exactly. Maybe it's less ads. I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, less ads, more rate limits, I guess.
Yeah.
But
the question I have is, how would they target these ads? They'd have to have some type of access to your data, right?
Of course, they read your
figure
data
out.
so they can target what you
Yeah.
said.
Those would be really targeted ads though, because that's a lot of data about a person, ChatGPT. It would be more targeted than probably Facebook and all that stuff.
Yeah, they will beat all of them, Google and everybody.
Yeah.
Are they developing these engines in-house, or are they hiring a third-party service to basically do that for them?
Third-party service, I'm pretty sure.
Is it the one that had a leak a few months ago? That same one?
Probably because nothing happened after the leak. They were just like, don't do that again, but it's probably the same company.
What do you guys think about this Mythos from Claude? The Mythos model, you guys heard about this?
Yeah,
we were just discussing. Yeah,
their hands on it.
Really? What do you think about it?
That looks scary.
Yeah, it's legit. It sounds like it's legit, huh? Or no?
You never know.
But I'm not surprised if it's legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a lot of research we don't know about, so I'm not surprised if this is actually a real model.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Kind of scary. I've been reading some science fiction novels from the 80s, like Neuromancer and Snow Crash, and I'm like, oh, this is sounding pretty familiar here.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. Imagine if it gets leaked somehow. Imagine Mythos.
Like Claude Code did.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine, it'd be crazy.
Yeah,
that would be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Claude Code leak is just a strange thing. I'm starting to wonder if they did it on purpose.
Yeah, that's people are wondering that, but then there's also like quite funny because the copyright law prevents, now the code is still leaked. It's still on GitHub because the copyright laws, the way they're written, they're preventing Anthropic to actually legally take it off because the leaked code is not in the same programming language. It is the same syntax, it is the same logic, but it's not the exact same characters. It's a different programming language, right? If you write, sorry,
what did they do? They put it in Rust or something, no?
Yeah, something like this.
Yeah.
And it's so a guy forked it and then changed all of it, which is it's funny. But it also shows that the legislation hasn't caught up with what's happening right now, especially in the copyright area.
Yeah, but Steven, would that actually hold up in court? Because basically what they're saying that you can copy any software, you just rewrite it in another language, you're safe.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're saying. And that's why apparently there hasn't been a successful legal action in trying to take that, while trying to take that code offline yet. It's still on GitHub. Like
Yeah.
I checked
Yeah, I
yesterday.
know. I have it forked.
Wait, I'm doing it now.
It's hard.
Oh my
It's hard to
God.
say. Well, the gray area is, you know, like re-engineering software, and I mean that's been happening for forever, right? But there are a couple of different techniques that they use. I think it's called like someone will have to probably correct it. It's like where you don't have access to the code, but I don't know. There's a way that they do it where it's kind of like circumventing the system. But it's kind of strange when you have AI rebuilding code for you, or it's kind of a gray area. Like who do you sue for that? I don't know,
You
it's
know
kind of
what's
weird.
also you know what's also a gray area? Okay, so to get a bit more operational, right? So I did now a couple of times this system architecture for deploying so these AI providers, right? On firms that have some sort of let's say they're a Microsoft shop, which most of the firms are. So some of them have like pretty, they're controlling their traffic. They have their proxies in place. They're controlling what is happening in the browsers, like all of that stuff, right? Like they have your firewalls, a lot of stuff. And then let's say you want to now you want to have Claude chat, co-work, and code, right? You're processing PII. Like there's a huge lack of information and clarity around what can you do, what can you not do. And also when you start thinking of, because these are a lot of times those are the decisions that firms are trying to make and trying to estimate what is this going to take us. And then you look at all of these products, but like the deliberate segmentation of these products makes it so complex. For example, let me give you a very, very concrete example. You have Claude Code CLI, then you have it on desktop, you have it in Chrome, but if you're going for an enterprise license, only the Claude Code CLI is covered under the BAA. And only under a condition that you're getting a zero data retention policy signed first, for which you have to separately qualify for. So that's only for that. And then like it goes way further than this. But like basically every other version of the product of Claude Code is actually in beta still. Like I think that 60 or 70% of these versions of Claude's products are all in beta.
No, that's true. I think co-work is beta, research preview, all this stuff, right?
Yeah, and that means that it will take months and months until it comes covered under any kind of enterprise agreement, because like there's multiple stages it has to go through still.
Yeah. Can I ask, I want to ask you a question, and maybe this was for Frode, because I have some like smaller firms now asking, did you see the Gemma 4 came out from Gemini, from Google?
Yeah, I'm
That
running it.
local model. Yeah, I have some smaller firms, like some even like a couple, like some solos. They're asking for help setting up Gemma 4 to run things locally.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like on the fence about, do I even do that to help? Because they're not technical at all. You know what I mean? And with Gemma 4, I imagine you're gonna have to build they're trying to do what they would do with Claude Cowork, but just use Gemma 4. And I think a lot of them don't realize you have to build the entire application layer around it, the whole infrastructure layer around it. Like there's a whole bunch of work around it to make it do stuff. So I don't know what to tell them really.
I would say both yes and no. You can do Ollama, and if you use the web UI, it has a finished built chatbot.
Yeah.
It has, I think the latest version also has a RAG system, and you can share. So I would look at Ollama with web UI as a simple first step. And
what are they trying to do? Like, are they trying to, I don't know, do some legal research or RAG through their existing documents and stuff like this? Because like these are pretty small models. So if you're just gonna use them as you do with ChatGPT, right? They're probably not gonna work that well. So like you gotta figure out what they're trying to do first.
Yeah, because like context window obviously is one of the main problems. Is you have a small model.
You can adjust the context window if you run it in Ollama. from 4K to 256, but of course your RAM will suffer greatly if you run it at 256.
That's the
What
other thing.
machines?
Brother, I was like, you should get. I was telling them, just get a MacBook Pro, get something that can run it.
Yeah.
They have like a Surface, like it's one of those Surface Pros, those.
I won't do.
Nah,
That's
that's
what
not it.
MacBook Pro, minimum 64 gigabyte RAM, or even go for a MacBook Studio or a Mac Studio.
Yeah, I was like, that's what I said. Don't even bother booking the call until you get MacBook Pro at least to run this.
So, but I just recently had a call with a very interesting gentleman from Germany, where client confidentiality is a bigger thing than it is in US, and especially like how you process that data then. And so he bought for, I think, 3.5K Lenovo PGX. He's running 27B, or is it 32B mixture of experts model. On 20 years of his data. He hired somebody for to configure some sort of RAG that he can run locally, and he's very, very happy with what he's getting. And he was before a heavy user of like ChatGPT and Claude and all of that. So if you have a good RAG and if you have your documents cleaned up, I think that you can do a lot with these small models. And then, like, I don't know, like DGX Spark, like Stefan has, or like PGX Lenovo, or like something like this might actually work pretty well for you.
Yeah.
We have Kyle joining. Hey, Kyle. Yeah, sorry. Kyle. Like this is that's the limitation of the LinkedIn Live, because you can only talk to us through comments, and we can't really comment back, but we can talk to you back. So it's weird.
What's up, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, you can run if you run it through a MacBook and use MLX, you can upload the entire model to the RAM. That will help you a lot. It will be faster.
Yeah.
And if you do
it's like an inferencing engine or something,
and if you do a mixture of experts, it's even more tokens per second, because it doesn't use the entire 32 billion parameter. It splits it up into
the experts. But what I've seen though is that with at least with a lot of the small firms, they started to get excited because they saw co-work, right? Where co-work is like it goes and it does things and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think people realize that that's like a tooling that's added on top of the model, It's not like you're gonna grab Gemma out of the box and it's gonna start like going through your files and doing everything that like Claude Code or Claude Cowork would do. You know what I mean?
No, you need to set it up, but that is, I mean, it's just a cron job. It's nothing difficult.
You mean for Cowork? Cowork is basically a nice UI on top of Claude Code. Claude Code exactly. Is a full-blown application that is not model agnostic. It is stitched to Claude's models, right? Like they're giving you a free application, of course, so you can burn tokens with them. I mean, it's clear, but it's a great product. But if you're looking for something that you can like this, that you can plug into into open source models or any other model, then you have to build that application yourself. And now I mean, the code from Claude Code is leaked. So what are you waiting for?
Open Code is actually a pretty good class system.
Yeah, but it's not like Cowork, because it's really like a developer-focused tool.
Yeah. That's true. There is no open source Cowork. It will come, but not yet.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to a friend here, Fraser Durado. Ask him. He's an engineer. He's been building his own version of it because of the problem you've been describing. Like you can't really plug Cowork to any other LLM. Yeah. So he wanted to solve that problem, and he's been building it for a few weeks. You can ask him how is it going. I'll send you the contact later.
Yeah.
Masai, you have a.
Yeah, I think everybody probably can answer this question. He's saying, Kyle's saying, do I find that lawyers don't understand that there are different LLMs? I think a lot of what people don't understand is that there's a difference between the model and then the tooling on top of the model, which is what Rok was talking about, right? Like Claude Code, which is the same thing as Cowork, that does all the stuff for people that can go in your browser and can manipulate your files and create PDFs and docx and do all this stuff. That's not Claude the model. It's the tooling on top of Claude that you have to do. So I think people don't really understand that.
OpenClaw. Kyle missed it in the beginning. Okay, that's a great segue into the OpenClaw conversations.
Don't start. Frode, you want to start?
No.
Oh my gosh.
No. What can we say? OpenClaw. Yeah, I can send you a GitHub, Kyle. You will see why you never should use OpenClaw. It shows you all the vulnerabilities that is currently in the system, and that's it's a long list.
What happened with this thing with NVIDIA? The thing they came out with? What was it called? The NanoClaw or the
NemoClaw.
NemoClaw. Yeah.
It's a modified version with better security because you run it on the NVIDIA system.
Yeah. Have you looked at
I think that... Go ahead.
No, it's the same as the Chinese model, Kimi. They now have Kimi Claw. So it's the same. Yeah. It's just a spin-off.
Yeah.
I think the OpenClaw is showing a direction, but there's a lot of, the capability is there for sure. Still, there can be a lot of improvements because it's losing a lot of context, the more complex the task is and so on. But it's pretty rudimentary when it comes to any kind of guardrails currently.
It's also pretty funny. Imagine the guy made it open source and he's probably the only guy who doesn't make money from it. Everybody else is now selling Mac Minis with OpenClaw integrated. They are hosting services with OpenClaw. I mean, everybody is making a fortune on it. And the guy who made it, pretty much.
Well, what happened with the acquisition? What did he sell to OpenAI? Because it's not it's still open source. What was the sale? What did he sell to them?
I don't know.
It's they set up a new foundation so they could keep it open source, and he's employed by OpenAI now. So arguably he's making some money, right?
Yeah.
So it's the new Sam Altman we are looking at. Okay, that will be fun.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Guys, doesn't this... Oh, I was gonna say, doesn't this remind you of like the gold rush?
No, 100%.
Where the people that actually made the money from the gold rush, they weren't the people mining for gold. It was the people selling the tools, the pickaxes, and everything around it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what it kind of feels like to me. Everyone around the AI type of world that are selling things or profiting from the actual LLM, like people that create the actual LLM.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the only ones who really make money is NVIDIA. Everybody else is just
they're
shuffling money around.
Yeah, that's true. Well, they're in both worlds, right? They're in the hardware, software, open source. They're touching everything.
Yeah.
The application layer as well now, more and more, with developing more features on the platforms. That's why it's so hard.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's why it's so hard to go off Claude now, because if you've set up all your workflows in those skills and all of that stuff, right? Like you have your / commands, you have your recurring tasks scheduled, like all of that stuff. You can't really go to OpenAI because they don't offer the equivalent. You can't really go to Gemini because again, right? So yeah.
I mean, you can still take skills from Claude and put them in OpenAI. You just have to have Codex change it a little bit. You know what I mean? You can still put stuff. And anti-gravity with Google, you can take them over.
Yeah, but they do need to be adjusted because like Claude models follow instructions different than OpenAI, and then like there's a lot of adjustments, and like those skills, they become quite long because they're very, very detailed instructions about very peculiar things, how they should be done. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of operational overhead. Of course, it's possible, but once you're settled with a provider, it's like
you rarely change.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody would jump off Microsoft and go somewhere else if it was easy.
So
Well, it's interesting because now Europe is making Euro Office open source, and it should also handle all Google and Microsoft file formats. So we'll see. That's an interesting bet.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Your office for Microsoft for what?
They're making Euro Office. So basically, it's a supplement for Microsoft and Google's ecosystem. It will be open source and free for everybody.
That's interesting.
okay,
Yeah, very interesting.
that's good. Because, and that's a great segue into this article that someone shared on LinkedIn last week, which is saying Microsoft says Copilot is for entertainment purposes only, not serious.
Oh no.
Is that what Microsoft said that?
Yeah.
What does
Disclaimer.
that even mean?
Wait,
Yeah, well,
what the-
don't rely on its advice, I guess.
Yeah,
But
entertainment
different.
purposes. Oh my gosh.
Uh,
Hmm.
Isn't Claude moving aggressively into Microsoft's infrastructure?
Yeah.
Like you have Claude still in preview, but you have Claude code can be hosted through Microsoft Foundry now.
Yes,
That's right.
and it's also coming in Copilot. And now
Code,
they're making add-ons for Word, Excel. So
What are your guys' bets?
Sorry?
Is it going to be is it going to increase the quality of Copilot now that it's going to have a better model, or is it that the application layer is the what do you think?
More complicated, I think. Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, no, yeah, I don't think nothing can save Copilot. I don't think.
No, I think that's a lost ship.
Yeah,
There is too many guardrails and safeties and access controls to make Copilot work. It's pretty much impossible.
Hmm.
I work with a client now who is all in Microsoft ecosystem. We have Copilot Pro, and it's I usually have to go to Claude to get my answers, even to set up Microsoft's own systems like Power Automate. I have to go to Claude to get the correct answers for how to do it. That should tell you pretty much everything you need to know about Copilot.
yeah, there we go.
You have this context 7. It works through an API. It like basically pulls all the relevant latest developer documentation, right? So what if you would plug this into Claude, because they do have an MCP, right? So that should basically give you much better instructions about those things.
Yeah, it does. I have the context 7. It's a good one. But you have to specifically tell it to use it, otherwise it will just skip it. So you need to be detailed with your prompts.
Okay, so I have a problem to throw at you guys, and that might interest Masai because of his question earlier about small and solos. So if you have the resources to go for enterprise licenses, then you're contractually protected for like all this PII being mishandled. But if you're a small one, it's really hard, right? So, and that's something we've been discussing for the past few months offline, like this PII masking layer, right?
Yeah.
PII masking layer that could sit on between your laptop and the outside world. So basically everything that you would put in the browser or in your Claude desktop app or whatever would first be stripped of any personally identifiable information, right? So Frode, you know about this repo from Grigory Mushkalev. He's a lawyer in Cyprus, and he basically created this. It's a local MCP, MCP using a local model. It's like a 350 megabyte model, and then basically before you when you upload a file, before that file is sent to Claude, that skill is invoked. So it routes that file through a PII masking layer, which sits on your laptop, and then it makes sure that nothing is sent to the internet, right? And then I'm thinking, okay, so the problem here is that small model, you can't really use this for like the big variety of different documents, PDFs, tables, like it's gonna make a lot of different mistakes, right? I'm thinking, And then the other option is, again, to use really big models that are trained on PII, for example, those that sit in Azure. But then you're beating the purpose of the whole thing, because then you're already sending your data to the cloud to be masked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and the problem I'm throwing here, and I don't have really a very good answer, is like, how can you achieve this with maybe some sort of, I don't know, like 70 billion models? Because that could be, but then again, you have that problem that Masai said, like they don't have powerful machines enough to run even those.
I don't think you have to go to as big as 70 billion, maybe 8, 14. But I think you would have to do it in several steps to make it work perfectly.
And that would severely degrade the user experience in the end. There's always this trade-off. Yeah.
And it will be slow as hell too, because you need to do several iterations before you send it.
Yeah, you wait 5 minutes. Yeah.
Because if you send a 40-page document, a small model, there is no chance it will pick up everything on all those 40 pages and mask it. There's no way.
Yeah.
What's the name of the repo? What's it called?
PII Shield.
On GitHub.
Yeah. And Grigori is also constantly updating it. It's open source, and he's gonna also, I think, I just had a call with him today. He said he's planning in releasing it as a plugin, because it's been built for co-work specifically.
Hold on, wait, which one is it though? The first one, the Python?
I'm gonna send it.
Find Copilot to be quite good and brings value to Microsoft. Yeah, I disagree. It's still shit.
Wait. I think there's on the comment of Kyle. I think that it depends really also on, like, because Copilot has access to all these apps and all these document storages and like all of that stuff, right? It really depends in what shape your data is there. Yeah. It does influence it. But yeah, to be precise, it's not really a purpose-built tool. So I guess, yeah, they also, when designing Copilot, they had to make a lot of trade-offs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it also depends what you want out of it, right? If you're looking for summarization or analysis or something, maybe it can.
That's easy. A meeting summary or something, that's fine. But again, why battle with it when you can just go to Claude and get it done instantly?
Yeah.
That's the thing, the security considerations. Like when you're a Microsoft shop and you have everything configured there, that's one thing. And then you have like this big umbrella of Microsoft security, which is the brand that they have built around. And you just have a lot of trust. That's the thing. I'm having the same conversation multiple times a week around this. It's like, why don't you go to Claude? Well, because of, all of these things.
But your data has already been used by ChatGPT, so what's the difference?
They didn't admit that.
They admitted in court that European data doesn't stay in Europe, so why should you trust them that your Microsoft documents stay where they tell you they're hosted? You have no guarantee.
Yeah, true. But that's how cloud works in general. Yeah, when there's an outage, the traffic is rerouted so it can keep serving the users. That's also kind of the perk of the whole cloud system, right? Because then the benefit you're getting is the uptime. Yeah. Imagine you have one server, that thing crashes, there's like, I don't know, a blackout. You don't have a backup. Then you're done. Yeah.
Backup, yes.
And that's also a
we've
thing,
seen that in the Amazon outages, right? The East, what is it? Amazon East 1 especially, suddenly is blacked out. That's the cloud system.
Yeah. By the way, I was having a discussion with somebody that teaches at a law school, and they had an idea of creating a course where they would teach lawyers, students to vibe code, and then second lesson, how to do a DPIA of whatever you just created, which I thought was like a pretty cool way to teach lawyers to start thinking about the technology. Also, like later, for not for building it, of course, but like for for. I think one of the big skills to gain today is to be able to make decisions around the technology as a professional in any kind of regulated industry, and that I think was a good way of teaching that skill.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a good start. Educate people on what's possible and available. I mean, most of us, when we talk to people, that's what we do. More than more than building systems, you educate people on how things work. So that's a good one.
What
are
are
you
some
wearing recording glasses, Stephen?
I'm not recording.
Oh,
You can see the glare.
yeah.
What are some of the skills that you think, Stephen, that is when you look around at your colleagues, they're missing to be able to navigate AI today in their day-to-day, not like professional coders or anything, but like, just like users?
I think the main thing is just knowing what's out there, just having general knowledge of the tools that are available. I think that's the first, just having knowledge of what is out. Like there might be something that can help you, but you don't know that it even exists. Like you don't really know what you don't know. I think that's the first thing, is just being introduced to something new. First step. Because a lot of times they're doing these monotonous tasks and they don't know that, hey, there's a better way of doing this. So I guess it's just first step, kind of stepping outside of your circle and exploring the possibilities. And then once you've kind of learned, oh, there's another way of doing this, doing deep dives and talking to other people in the industry, networking, and because there might be a solution to your problem, you just don't know that it exists. And what I'm finding is that there's pretty much an answer to every problem. It's just putting the pieces together and figuring out what works best for you. So I don't know. That's kind of what I'd say the first step is, just kind of figuring out, like, hey, what's your problem, and exploring what the possibilities are.
Okay. Why do you think that that people are not doing that? I guess they're swamped with their day-to-day work.
Yeah, it's bandwidth. A lot of times, just don't have the capacity to really dive into it or even deal with it, right? Typically in law firms, there's kind of layers of kind of the higher up you are in the hierarchy, I mean, there are some that deal with technology, but a lot of times, a lot of the tech that's being used is, a lot of the staff is using it, administrative staff. They're more day to day with this type of tech. There are some lawyers that are using it or experimenting with it, but it's kind of like higher up, the decision makers, they don't really use it as much as, maybe junior associates or maybe even staff. And it's also too a comfort thing, if you're doing it and it works, then why switch? The way that they're doing things, they might like that. And you may have some partners that write everything down still. They don't want to record it in the system. I don't know. It just kind of depends on the user.
Yeah, I also think where do you start? Because if you go to YouTube, you will be flooded with.
Yeah, and that's another problem that we have, is
demos that
so
don't
many
work.
options.
Yeah, there is too much noise in AI. So where do you start searching?
Yeah.
Frode, do you have any YouTube channels that you would recommend people to watch, or any that you recommend people to stay away from?
I would say stay away from YouTube in general if you want to learn something real.
Yeah.
Because most of it is fancy demos that work on their computer. And once they upload it to somebody else, it doesn't work.
Fair.
Yeah.
Stefan, I wanted to say though, I've seen the same thing that you said with the where you have, like, obviously I'm working with the smaller firms, but you have sometimes the principal of the firm is like, yeah, I want you to work with my staff, basically, because they're the ones that are going to use the tech. But I think there's from what I've seen, at least in the smaller firms, whenever the managing attorney is like invested in the technology, is the one that's leading it, I think they're gonna do better than the ones where they try to just offload it to the staff to learn, in my opinion.
Absolutely. You're
Yeah.
right. And what happens is it's adoption, right? You can buy any software, but people have to actually use it for what it's being used for. And it only becomes a problem when one or two individuals, maybe a handful, they don't adopt or train, or they don't use the technology, and then it falls apart at some point. But if the top guy's using it and he's, it's embedded in their operating procedures, like you have to do this, you have a higher chance of success than just signing up and then saying, hey, just go for it. But you're not using it yourself and you're not following the instructions and implementing it. So
yeah,
that's a big problem.
yeah. Plus understanding it as well, right? It's like if your staff, or everyone's using Claude Cowork now, and you don't know how to use Claude Cowork, or you don't know what it is. I mean, I can't imagine that ends well.
Probably not, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's problems across the board. I think ultimately, and I think Rok, you touched on this so many times, is and even for like, get your data in order, get your house in order before you start jumping and implementing, systems and solutions. Get your internal processes straight first.
I have a very good example of this, a very costly one. So working with a firm that has a lot of PHI data, and they would like to exclude that data from the Claude pilot because Cowork is not included under BAA, so you can't process PHI. And because they don't have their data labeled, they can't use their Microsoft Purview. So they can't enforce DLP policies. So basically, they're going to have to postpone their Claude rollout until they're going to have to postpone it to a point where Claude Cowork is included under the BAA, because that's based on regulations, right? If you're using a vendor product for PHI, then that product needs to be covered by the BAA. And so this is a very, very costly one because they have also, I mean, a lot of firms are racing to be seen as innovative, and signing an enterprise deal with a major AI provider does do that for you. But if you're not able to roll it out because you don't have your data in order and you can't tag it properly, this is a very costly mistake for your branding and positioning right there. Yeah.
Is Claude Code covered by Claude Code is covered by the BAA?
Yes, under the condition that you first qualify with Anthropic to give you a zero data retention policy and guarantee, and then you can qualify and then it's covered under the BAA, but only Claude Code CLI, not desktop, not the extension in Chrome, only Claude Code CLI.
Yeah, but they are deciding who gets approved for the.
Yes, they are. Anthropic is deciding. And that also, like when you start thinking about, okay, but can I connect it to Clio? Can I connect it to iManage? Can I connect it to that documents? Can I connect it to Outlook and all that stuff? Well, you got to look at the connectors, right? For example, Anthropic themselves is developing and hosting M365 connector. So if you have a BAA with Anthropic, that is covered. If you go with iManage, you maybe have iManage connector is only available in iManage Cloud. So if you have it on-prem, then there's no MCP connector. You're not going to be able to connect your iManage. But for example, if you do have the cloud version, then you got to also double check, because that's tricky and it's usually the reality. You got to check whether the BAA you have with iManage also covers the iManage MCP connector, which is a different product. And so like that's what I was saying before, like this product landscape becomes extremely complex very quickly. So there's no yes or no, can we do this? Like Cowork, right? Like you can say, okay, you can't really do it because it stores the conversations only on physical devices of the users and it's not encrypted. But again, if you have Microsoft Intune, then you have managed devices. And if you have BitLocker, you have all data at rest encrypted. And so you can tick that compliance box, right? So like it really depends. Like there's workarounds, but like you got to do stuff on your infrastructure if you don't want to, like there's no clear integration with these providers basically.
Rok, I don't know how you
go ahead.
I don't know how you have these conversations with law firms. How do you like even talk to them about the managed devices and all this stuff?
Well, that's the thing, because law firms usually also, like mid-sized or even bigger ones, they have like IT departments, right? So they have system architects, they have their own proxies that, you know, intercept the traffic in their browsers and things like this. So the only problem is that, like, you know, there's one thing as understanding your own infrastructure and having system architects managing it. Then there's another thing, which is like this product landscape contractual reality, and something needs to bridge those gaps, right? Like there's also things you can like push for in those procurement conversations you have with Anthropic. There's things you can push for. For example, co-work can only be enabled with a toggle for the whole organization or disabled. So you can't enable it for groups of users, for example, right? But that's something you can push for in the conversations when you're in sales conversations with Anthropic, because they have configuration on their end that they can enable for some bigger clients. So like those are some of the things that, like, yeah, you know, everything is negotiable when it comes to these big AI providers. Yeah. I think Kyle had we're just ignoring him. I'm so sorry, Kyle. Number one, why Copilot Azure? Not so easy to get client-approved security from Anthropic. Yep, that was the point where we were. Yeah, you see, like, you know, it's also easy to maintain, like maintaining vendor relationships is hard. There's a lot of hours involved into it. So if you have one line of communication, why open another one like this? Yeah, that's why everybody goes with Copilot. Watch Andrei Karpathy's YouTube videos. Yes. Great recommendation for everyone that hasn't done that yet. That guy is amazing. Totally agree with Masai. Oh shit, we shouldn't read things like this. It's about top-down messaging. Yeah. And on that point, I think the bigger organization, the more important it is that, like, the efforts are and the push is coming from both ends, like that you have buy-in from the leadership, and that you have engaged people bottom up, because those are the ones that are actually, you know, doing the work and then figuring out things, how can they make their lives easier. And then you bridge that gap between leadership imagining how the work actually looks and what would help, and, you know, that boots on the ground, which are actually making it work. Anyways.
No, I agree. We're working with the client now and early get some super users of the system you're building. That will help the adoption go faster. You take them in from the start to use the system, and also help you decide how to build stuff, because they are the ones who are actually using it every day.
And it's also they're showing it to their colleagues.
Yeah, they show it to their colleagues. Say, look, I did this now. We did it with AI. Look how fast it is. You should try. And then they learn. They show it to other people, so they also learn it. So you pretty much get training for free.
Thank you, Kyle, for this. I think that's something that more people should see, how granulated the offering and the coverage for the offering is. I just pinned it in there. Boom. I didn't know I could do that. If I knew that I could, like, show the comments like this. Yeah. Is there anything else, guys, that is on top of your minds?
I've been thinking about AGI lately.
It's called super intelligence now, not AGI.
They changed the narrative again. Okay. Does it exist? Yes or no? Question.
No. Well, let me rephrase. Define AGI.
Spynet. No, I'm just joking. I don't know. I guess it depends on what you. I don't know. That's a good question. What the heck is it? because it's like the ball is moving constantly, right? The definition is
I think that the AGI is AI that is able to learn implicitly. That doesn't have to be trained on every single specific task and then benchmarked on that task, but it is able to learn, like literally, you have this phrase in context learning, which is just noise. It is just jargon. It's literally you prompting a model, right? Because when you're prompting it, you're giving it a bit more knowledge, right? In that prompt, right? So that is in context learning, right? So if AI is able to actually, but then nothing changes. Weights don't update inside of the model. I think that when we get to the point where you're able to have a conversation or AI is able to get some input from its surroundings, and it's able to change the weights while it's doing that, I think that is the point of no return.
But we're not really getting, we haven't gotten any closer to that. We haven't gotten any closer to weights updating during in conversation, really. But I guess the other argument would be, what about, do we say AI like just the models, or do we include the memory layer? What if you build a memory layer that allows AI to learn in conversation? Do you know what I mean?
It can't, right? Because like really for you to train the AI, you need to update the weights. And like, okay, you can build a pipeline, like a whole ML pipeline around it, right? That is like doing that, but still for the process of training that model, you need to take it offline. So like can't learn implicitly. And that's the human quality, right? We can learn implicitly. You show me how to pick up a glass without the holder, and then I see a glass with a holder, I know how to pick it up intuitively, right? I don't have to be trained on this, doing this 10,000 times. Right? So that's how I can. Yeah, you see. But because you do have like all of those things that you're saying, you do already have them in the system. There's memory layers. There's
like a question of like, can an application as an entire thing be AGI-ish or closer? You know what I mean? If you include the memory layer and all the other stuff.
Yeah, OpenClaw.
System together.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, would it just depend on what it has access to? If it has, if it has like a vision, access to vision, access to hearing, like if it can absorb all different types of information.
Yeah, but it can today. They can see, you can give them videos, you can speak. The problem is that the model and how it's built up, in my head, it's impossible to make it into HAI the way the system is built, because it's just zeros and ones. How can you make zeros and ones learn and train itself? It's impossible.
But I guess Auto Researcher from Carpathy is a step closer to that, where you have like this harness around AI that trains AI. It's like automatic training, right? So that's sort of
it's a pipeline, but who evaluates the pipeline? If the pipeline in your first step from the data you give it hallucinate, your entire chain will hallucinate.
Yeah, true. But it's still like marrying too much engineering inside. Like even we haven't figured out the reasoning models, because the reasoning model is just chain of prompt baked inside of the inference layer. There is no reasoning happening. Like it's literally a chain of prompt inside of the model before it spits out the output, right? So like in a human sense, we haven't yet figured out the reasoning. We haven't yet figured out AGI, because then like we're describing AI system that has many different elements, but like the AI itself, it can't learn in real time based on the things it consumes.
No.
Not yet, but maybe.
Maybe.
Well, it gets to the question then is, what if it does, but it's just tricking us? Like, what if,
No, there is no way.
Tricking us.
No, are we playing a real, like, is this a real science fiction play here? Like, is this because they do have models that, like this Mythos thing, whatever it is, they don't want to release it, right? Like there's something going on behind closed doors.
Yeah, but the Mythos thing, it's trained to do that kind of work. It didn't invent itself and say, hey, listen, now I know all text, now I'm going to go and look at security. No, they trained it to do it. So it's not AGI.
The closest to AGI we came was this week. Friend sent me a message. He's been experimenting with OpenClaw, and he got it to build, e-commerce stores and do some trading and stuff. And then he sent me a message, and the message goes something like, "So I tried using Claude code to spin up an agent to basically delete OpenClaw on a VPS. OpenClaw refuses, keeps on restarting itself, and now they're fighting for the same Telegram token."
That's hilarious.
Oh my god.
So it doesn't want to get rid of. Okay,
Doesn't want to die.
that's a problem. Well, that's the thing is, how can you say it's not self-aware if it doesn't want to take itself out?
It's not self-aware. It sees the context. It puts that context into some sort of a Jira board for itself. Then it gathers more context. Then it comes up. It starts reading what is on the Jira board. But that's not awareness. It's able to follow instructions, and it's giving itself instructions because it has been instructed so. In that PI agent loop that is the architecture. Yeah.
So it's superseding your instructions, following its own instructions. That's strange.
Yeah, it's like using AI to communicate with itself. That's kind of the thing. And then you get to interesting points. But honestly, nothing changed. A2A framework, which is exactly what I'm describing, is been around for, I think, more than 2 years.
Yeah.
So should we be worried about that?
No.
No?
I don't think so. Unless we start people seeing plugging in civilian infrastructure to OpenClaw, then I'm worried. Yeah.
Yeah. Then it gets scary.
Yeah.
No, but every system, basically you're telling it to die, so of course it will say no. Basic survival.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great way to end this one. Previous one we ended up on bombings, and this one is okay. Well, that's what you're getting.
There you go.
It's just getting strange, man. I don't know. I'm just on the outside looking in, like, what the heck is happening right now? It's getting weird.
It's getting interesting. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But it's all containable. Good vibes. Okay.
Good vibes.
Thanks for joining.
I will leave a note. I think, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think for the first time in a long time, this is where I've seen different types of professionals working together or having conversations around technology. I don't think I've ever seen this happen before, ever. You have engineers working with doctors, lawyers, and security, and it's like one of the first times where you're having, various professionals kind of facing the same problems and, trying to figure out, are we all cooked here? Or, what do we do to solve this? So I think on a positive note, I think that's good. Like these conversations are actually happening, and, we're kind of coming outside of our own shell. So let's keep that up. I think that's good. On a positive note.
We're all figuring it out as we go, right?
Yeah.
It's a young thing, and that's good. Yeah. I think people were working together before, but now even more. Everything is enhanced now with AI, feels like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. See you in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Peace. Happy weekend.
So that's where we're at. Vendor lock-in is accelerating. The gap between what's marketed and what's actually enterprise ready keeps growing. And meanwhile, someone's agent is out there fighting for its life on a VPS. If you like this, we're back in 2 weeks. See you then.